Good morning, I'm here at the UK Martial Arts Show and I've been joined by Grandmaster Rick Young.
I'm a student Rick Young, yeah.
Student Rick Young.
Rick Young, yeah. Thank you, yeah.
No problem. The first time I met Rick Young, I think I was about 14, and he was one of those role models that you look up to and aspire to be. Just his way of getting into more than one art, but doing it at such a high level. I think, you see a lot of people dabbling with arts, doing 4 weeks of this, 4 weeks of that. Suddenly they're a cage fighter, but I think, have you competed in absolutely every art that you've done?
No, I haven't. I competed a little bit in karate, and then I competed in boxing. I fought for Scotland twice in boxing, and then I think for judo, I never competed in judo, but for judo you do your fights to get your grades. So there was 16 fights between white and black belt, and fortunately I won them all, so I got my black in judo. And then in jiu-jitsu I competed a little bit later on in life in jiu-jitsu because in the beginning, when I was younger, for some reason I didn't want to compete. I thought Bruce Lee didn't like competition, so I thought, well, I'm going to compete. And then I thought, when I came into jiu-jitsu, I really wanted to test myself to see how well I would do, particularly at that time. Because the Brazilians kind of owned Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and obviously being from Brazil. And I thought, if I could go to Brazil and win a tournament, that would be great, or take a medal. So that's when I started to compete in Jiu-Jitsu more. And I've been doing that, and then for about 1999 actually, till 2018. So that's me being, now I'm finished. Finishing the competition.
Because you've travelled all over. Oh, here's Bob Sykes with a coffee. We've not seen him all weekend. It's been bliss. He's gone again. I don't know where he's gone.
Thank you for the coffee. Thank you. Appreciate it.
So, you've travelled all over the world as well, haven't you? Like I think America. That was on the.
Yeah, America, because obviously the Guru Dan Inosanto, and when I first started training, obviously Bruce Lee was my hero, and then Guru Dan, obviously being under Bruce Lee, he was the closest person I could get to see that would be representative of Bruce Lee. So I wanted to go and train with Guru Dan. I saw him in 1979 when he came to London. And I told him then that I wanted to train with him, and he kind of shrugged me off a little bit, and then I thought, no, I really want to go and train with this man, so I went at age 4 to train with him, and then pretty much, I think I've been there well over 50 times now, maybe close to 60 times, to go and see him, so usually go twice a year, and so most of the time was going to America in the beginning. Then I went to places like Japan to train in judo. I always wanted to go to Japan to source the judo, so I did that. Got my ribs broken for the travel of going there, and then went to Brazil for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So first went to Brazil in beginning 2002, and that was just incredible. Going there to train in art there. And then last year I went to Thailand to train with Master Toddy in Thailand, because I trained with him in Manchester here. But it was really nice to go to his gym in Thailand and train there. And I think you can get the knowledge here. So like for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you've got Roger Gracie, Brillius, Mauricio Gomez, my instructor here. So you've already got the Jiu-Jitsu here, but you've also, just going to where the home is, the home of Jiu-Jitsu, just incredible, really fantastic.
It's interesting that you trained with Toddy rather than, a lot of people train with Sken and things like that, and when I went over to train myself with Master A, Toddy's my brother, he asked me, why didn't you pick the other systems? And there's something about that system, I don't know if it's the same for you. What was it about that system that
I think when I trained with Toddy, it was about 86, 87, something like that, way back, same age, but way back. And then when I trained with him then, first of all, I really liked the way, his manner. I thought he had a great manner. He always treated people with respect. He wasn't too above himself. His teaching, I thought was really interesting, the way that he had his fighters, but then he also taught you how to teach, which a lot of people don't do. They kind of go, okay, you've got a black belt, now you're a teacher, which, as we know, as you know yourself, the people get a black belt and then either they go power mad They go power crazy, they go, yeah, I'm a black belt and I'm the best, you know, and, or they just don't understand the structure of teaching. And I'm guilty of that too, you know, because when I started teaching, I really had nobody to show me how to teach. So I tried to teach classes like Guru Dan Inosanto would take a seminar. So I thought that if I taught a class and everybody was totally lost, I would have a great class.
Yeah.
I thought, hey, look how good I am. I know 10 different stick drills more than you do. And it was ridiculous, you know, it was absolutely ridiculous. But I didn't really understand any better at the time. And also I didn't understand that when Guru Dan takes a seminar, especially back then, pre-internet, even videotape really, or around the time of videotape, it was very rare, that when he came and gave a seminar, like if he gave a seminar in London, he was given 1 year's knowledge in 1 weekend. So you were supposed to take that 8 hours or so, 10 hours, and then you would have a year to train that. And I was trying to teach it in one class, which was just silly. It was an ego thing. It was immaturity as well, you know, and just not being educated, really, you know.
How old were you when you first started teaching?
20. I was 20 when I first started teaching. Far too early. I shouldn't have been teaching, but at that time there was nobody else teaching. You know that. You know, it's like, you know. So there was nobody really. If I'd had somebody in Edinburgh to just say, Rick, we've got the Edinburgh Cali kickboxing or Cali club, I would have just trained there. I never wanted to be a teacher. I've never felt really that comfortable like teaching. It just so happened that my idea was to get a group of guys together, so like to get 10 guys, so we would have, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu wasn't really known then, but I would go, I'd get a Japanese Jiu-Jitsu guy, get an Aikido guy, get a boxer, get a Thai boxer, get a karate guy, get a judo guy, get a wrestler, get a Tai Chi guy, you know, so forth, you know, so we would go, and then we would all just train and exchange. And it just so happened, because I was the one doing the travelling, that I seemed to have the most knowledge, so it kind of organically happened that people were asking me questions and saying, Rick, how do you do this, how do you do that? And you know, and then I started to take the gym. But I mean, I wasn't even charging at that time. And then when I said, would anybody, if anybody wants to give a pound, that'd be really nice, you know? And then I didn't still didn't get any money. Don't want to give a pound, you know? So then I kind of had to say, okay, we're actually charging now. So it was a different, just a different time, you know? It was just a different time, totally different from the way it is now. And I'm glad I went through that. I'm really glad that, you know, there was a lot of things I learned from that. Like going to America and training with at the academy for 6 weeks and coming back and then training that and then going back. Excuse me. And that was really great for me because I wasn't getting spoon fed to me all the time. Yeah. Like and it was good for the guys there because they're every Tuesday, Thursday, Wednesday, Monday. They've got Guru Dan or whoever at the time, Richard Bastillo, but but it's kind of given to them really quick, really quite easily. The information is easily accessible, and sometimes when you got to dig for it a little bit more, it kind of goes a little bit deeper. I'm not saying with all the guys over there, just me personally. So it was a great experience, you know. So it was really cool, and I kind of fell into teaching, and now I teach full time. So it's kind of gone to the point where hopefully I'm a better teacher now than I was back then.
I've not been stalking. I just have noticed over the years that you seem to teach each style in its own style box as well.
Yes.
So you're not doing what a lot of people are doing, which is like the mixed freestyle martial arts kind of thing. So you're not jumbling it all up.
Absolutely.
You're teaching each art to that art, which is interesting that you're doing that. Have you got main reasons as to what I know I've done the same.
Yes.
So Thai boxing has to be a Thai boxing class.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, you know, the synergy is JKD. You know, so what you can do is a synergy, not an eclectic system where you're adding this, and this. Of course, you have John Fan Kung Fu, which is the root system of JKD, the Bruce Lee's root system. But for me, it's always been about letting the student make their own choices. So what you could do, and what I could do, is we could say, okay, let's just add all the things that I think are really important and put them together, and then we can go, this is my blend. But then that would be Rick Young's blend. So then for, you know, a 60-year-old man coming in who's never done martial arts in his life, he's going to get my distillation of what I think is good. But sometimes that's not really, because we have different mentalities, physicalities, you know, emotional states, that maybe that's not good for him. So I would rather, as you've done too, that, you know, go, okay, here's Thai boxing, here's Cali, here's BJJ, here's CSW, here's the MMA program. Which program would be more suitable for you? So let's put you into Cali first, or maybe a basic kickboxing program, so as you know, like punch, kick, knee, and elbow. And then if you want to diversify from that, then you can do that. But I'm like you, I think it's really important that you learn the system as best as I can teach it, and the instructors can teach it. And then you can take, and then you can kind of cut and paste it whichever way you want.
Do you think that helps to give that traditional aspect of each system as well, so you're learning more about the core values of each system and the masters that have passed it on?
Yeah, that's a great point. That's a really, really important point. It's a really good, really great point, because you need to understand the structure of the system, and then when you understand the structure and the culture and the history, then you understand why they did what they did, you know, and why it developed a certain way. And I was saying just at the end of the class there that, you know, we're martial artists, we're martial and we're fighters. You know, we want to be fighters. We want to be able to protect our family, protect our children, protect our loved ones, protect people, protect each other, you know, protect ourselves, of course. And that is really vitally important, I think, that we're striving. We don't keep our eye off that too much. We can make sure that we're going to be able to do that. But at the same time, I think it's really important that we're artists and that we understand the culture, the philosophy, the history, which is exactly what you're saying. But Thai, understanding why they do the Y crew, or the you know, and I mean, I'm a Christian. I'll be honest, I'm a Christian. I don't do the Y crew for religious. But for me personally, I did do it because I wanted to understand it. But I don't really do it. But it was good for me to understand why they do that, why there's certain ceremonies, why you know, they pay respects a certain way, and then when you understand that, you can really appreciate it. And Guru Dan, his big thing was always about understanding each system. And then you understand Japanese Jiu-Jitsu, and then you understand Muay Thai, and then you understand French Savant, and then you understand American wrestling, and you understand Western boxing, or whatever system it is. That then when you appreciate the art, you appreciate the culture. When you appreciate the culture, it breaks down barriers, because then it's not just somebody over there that is a different colour from you that you don't, you know, that you go, oh, he's doing a different thing, he's doing whatever from India, you know, you appreciate that culture. And so his aim, Guru Dan's aim, has always been to bring people together through martial arts, which is almost a contradiction, because we're fighting, you know, we're fighting, but it's actually to bring everybody together so we appreciate each other's culture. And it's a great point you just made about, you know, when individually each system, you can understand the Muay Thai, or you can understand again, even the Western wrestling. Even if you go to like Wigan, the Wigan Pit, you know, you go right just up from your right, so you just go. That's important to understand. But yeah, I think it's a really important thing to keep in there.
With your point about us all being fighters as well, we want to protect ourselves, our families, and say like you take the Muay Thai and you go to a tournament format. I'm not saying this is like with every single one, but I think we've all been in the industry long enough to see it, that sometimes you go to a tournament and it's like in the ring, fight, out the ring, next fight in. It's like a conveyor belt of people who are just kind of doing an element of the art, rather than learning the traditional aspects of why we do the art. I don't know if you can expand or...
Yeah, I think for some people that's okay, because they only want to delve so far into it, you know. For us, if we're instructing the art, I think you've got to try and expose your students to a lot of different elements of it, you know. So if you're only teaching the physical, get in there and do it and get back out, then it's not that different to climbing a mountain or something, you know, you're just going up there and climbing a mountain or whatever, you know. But if you understand the art itself, you understand the underlying principles of it. So like, let's say Muay Thai, so you're going to understand the ring art, you're going to understand the old art, you know, you're going to understand the Krabi Kabong, you know, you're going to understand all of these things, and then and as I was saying, that's why it's good to go to somewhere like, I mean, I only spent 6 days in Thailand, 7 days in Thailand, so it wasn't really that long, but just to kind of feel the culture of it, you know, and understand why it's about, you go to the Lumpini and see what's going on, but not just Lumpini, but then also going to, you know, look at the Krabi Kabong, you know, and look at that and go, wow, that's all tailored together. Where did that come from? Well, it was a war art, you know, it was an art for war. It was to protect people, to protect your village. You know, so then you go, actually, why were they particular village? Because we were being attacked by certain people. And then you understand the history a bit more. And then you go, wow, this is really interesting. And again, I think it humanizes the art, it keeps the art alive, and it humanizes it as well. If you're just going in and going like jiu-jitsu, for instance, if you understand Brazilian jiu-jitsu and understand the history of it, you go, oh, that's why they did this and that's why they did that. And some of it I don't agree with, by the way, some of the actions I don't agree with, but I go, oh, that's really interesting what they do. If you look at the way Brazilian jiu-jitsu was done, which is very slow, hey my friend, let's roll, let's do this, let's go easy, let's roll my friend. And then you look at the culture, so the culture makes sense because it's a surfing culture. You go to Rio, the guys do jiu-jitsu, then you're going to do some surfing, you go on the beach, you got a tan, come out, the watermelon, you go back in the flip-flops, you go there, and you can see, understand why it's done the way it's done. And I think that is so important to appreciate the culture, appreciate the people that are doing it. And even if you don't like it, sometimes you go, well, at least understand what's going on there. Japan was the same. We went to do judo in Japan because then you understand the structure and the way they do it. You know, I can go to France and do judo. In France, there's more people doing judo in France than there is Japan now.
Wow.
Which is crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. There's over 1 million doing it in France, well over 1 million, and in Japan there's less than 1 million.
Wow.
So it's really strange how that's happened. But if you go to Japan, you understand the culture, and then you go, oh, that's why they do so they bow when they go and they do this. The mats are different, the tatami is different. When you, as I was throwing lots of times, when you get thrown, actually, do you know what? It's the opposite. It's kind of, you bounce off. But what is it when you got the real tatami? Your feet burn. My feet, because it's 3.5 hour sessions, you know. So my feet were getting really burned. After the first 2 sessions, my feet were cut up. And I've been doing a lot of judo back in Scotland, you know. I've been really good players. But my feet got covered with that, my feet up. So just getting that feeling, it just gives you a different, a really good understanding of, you know, and then you go to the Kodokan, you see Jigoro Kano statue, and all that stuff. And I think that's important to go to try and seek out the roots of the art that you're in. If you're interested in it, if you're doing it once a week and it's a physical thing for you and you want to do some combat kickboxing, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, and that's fine because that's the level of interest you want. But if you actually want to be a martial artist, you know, you have, for my view, and I don't mean you have to be a world-class fighter. You just have to be able to fight from the inside. You know, have enough fight, you know, in you that you can, you know, represent yourself well, and then have the art as well, as I was saying. You know.
Do you think the Western culture is very different to the cultures of each of the countries that you've been to look and study the art further?
I think that there is a difference, but I think everybody's inherently the same. I think everybody's a little bit afraid. That's why we do martial arts, because most people, anybody that goes into martial arts, or most people, if it's for self-defense reason, are insecure because they can't defend themselves. And one of the most fundamental things in life is being able to defend yourself and your family. More so your family. You know, I think most people would, you know, if you took I've said to women, I took like rape prevention groups and stuff, and I say to them, you got to do this, you got to do that. And they go, oh, I don't really want to do that to someone. And I go, okay, say someone was dragging your kid into a car and going to rape your kid, or attack your kid, or kill your kid. What would you do? Oh, I do this. And then you immediately see their physiology changing because they care more about their children than they do about themselves, right? So like it's a mother's instinct, right? Or even a father's instinct, or brother's instinct, or sister's instinct. So I think that everybody, whatever, whether you're in Brazil or Japan, India, you know, wherever it is, America, everybody has an underlying instinct, and just the arts are just different ways to represent that in a physical sense for most of us, you know, how we're going to get that out. So I would look for the underlying themes first, and that's why, say, Guru Dan, when he's teaching about the cultural systems, he's teaching it because he wants people to understand that actually we're all the same.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You know, and it's like now we're living in a culture that's supposed to be multicultural, but it's very diverse, and it's very diverse, but it's also very segmented. Yeah. So we've got a lot of like contradictions going on here, you know.
So yeah, I mean, you're really humble about all of your achievements, and the fact that you've been out to the Inosanto Academy and trained directly with Dan. You must be like a son to Dan in many ways.
I think he makes everybody feel like that because he's got such a great persona that he'll come up and he'll always say something else. He goes, oh, I like your ring, or I like your shoes, or like, and everybody that's with him feels like they're special. Mm-hmm. And so he's really great, and he's really good at living in the moment. You know, he's not really, he's with you. He's not like going, oh, I've got to be, you know, and go over here. Mm-hmm. He's actually with you. So almost everybody that meets Gurdan go, yeah, Gurdan and I are really close friends and whatever, you know, because it makes you feel like that. And like I say, I've been really very privileged to spend so much, a lot of time with him. You know, so it's incredible just to be in his presence. For me, it's just great, and I've heard it was always worship, all the rest. But actually, as a human being, he's just really great to be around. Whenever I'm with him, when I come back for about 4 days, I'm a good person. Yeah. I feel like bad Rick has gone away, and I'm filled with this like calm, and then, you know, come back. But he's just really a great human being to be around. As a martial artist, he's on a different level. As far as I'm concerned, he's the best martial artist I've ever seen. Yeah, and he's just a constant source of inspiration. So that's why I keep going back there. That's the reason I keep going back to LA, to see him, to be around him. And it's kind of selfish in a way because it's to be motivated by him. So when I look at him, he's 83 this year, and I go, wow, just incredible. Yeah. And when I was with him last year, he was, you know, he had just finished. He had done a yoga session, then he'd done a Cambodian kickboxing session, and then he was getting trigger massage done to him, and this was still at 10 o'clock in the morning, right? And then he said to me, do you want to come with me down to my oxygen? He gets oxygen. This is his rest. This is rest day. It's actually it's one of those kind of tubes, you know. It's one of those tubes. Yeah, I don't know how to explain, but you know, you lie back in the tube and they fill it with pure oxygen, or pretty close to pure oxygen. And so he's getting oxygenated, you know. And remember, he's 82, right? And he's doing this. And then he says, you want to come down? So I'll go down with him, and then with Tim Berger. And he's watching The Born Identity, and I'm watching him. I'm thinking, I'm watching Dan Inosanto, like getting his oxygenation thing, doing that. Then we went away and trained in Berlin to walk with another guy. We went that was from Santa Fe, not Santa Fe, down Long Beach way, up to Hollywood, you know. And then by the time we finished, we're having a meal at 5 o'clock at night, you know. And it was just really, I don't say it to brag, I say it because it's such a privilege to be in his presence, you know, and I learned so much. Now I'll probably learn as much just talking like this as in a class, although in a class I learn a lot, but talking like this is amazing, yeah. So he's my hero, yeah.
Well, thank you for joining me today. It's been amazing talking to you.
Thanks a lot for helping me, thanks.